President Biden revealing his new plan to lower the cost of 10 prescription drugs for seniors, including drugs to treat diabetes and cancer.
Today is the start of a new deal for patients where Big Pharma doesn't just get a blank check at your expense.
A new deal for patients. Yes, this is part of the Inflation Reduction Act. It's a signature piece of it that was signed last year, and now it is not going into effect. It won't happen until 2026, but these drugs are being outlined. This is the first time that this massive program, Medicare in the United States, is going to be able to negotiate prices with pharmaceutical companies and not just be smacked around by them and just pay whatever they decide, whatever price they have pulled out of thin air. Those initial 10 drugs, they're chosen based on criteria set out by Medicare. They must be sold in pharmacies. They must not have a substantial generic competition and have been on the market for at least 9 years. Here's a little bit more about those drugs.
This is the list of drugs at play. Xarelto and Eliquis to prevent strokes and blood clots. Jardiance and Januvia, which treat type 2 diabetes. Farxiga for people with chronic kidney disease. Entresto to stave off heart failure. Enbrel for arthritis. Imbruvica for blood cancers. Stelara for Crohn's disease. And Fiasp and Novolog, both insulin products for diabetics.
Which is huge. I mean, having especially some insulin products in there. I know it's not everything, but that is going to go a long way. So again, diabetes, heart failure, a lot of things that happen later in life. But of course, I mean, many young folks are struggling and have these same ailments. And so we'll talk about, wanting to go for more. But Yasmin, before I could get to you, look at the prices. So this was Reuters put out this list of how expensive these drugs are. So you're looking for Medicare enrollees, the billions of dollars, $16.5 billion on Eliquis, which is this blood clotting medication. And how many people are on it? 3.7 million of Medicare enrollees. Now, altogether, the savings that what the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid spent on all these drugs between June 1st of 2022 and May 31st of 2023, so about a year, $50.5 billion. Billion dollars is how much they spent. Now, this won't go down to zero, but at least there will be a negotiation, a fair negotiation. Hey, stop charging. We're spending $16 billion on this drug. You think we could use that money for something else? You want to continue functioning in this country? We are a massive slice of your market. Now we're going to be able to negotiate. So all of these drugs represented about 20% of the total cost of drugs in the Medicare prescription program, known as Part D. So we're talking about a whole boatload of savings that's immediately passed on to the consumer, which is such a sick way to frame healthcare in this country, but to the people. Yasmin, thoughts?
So I was kind of just talking to someone about this the other day. A lot of progressives, we didn't like Joe Biden. We have mixed feelings about him, I'll say now, because he is, a little bit further to the right than we would like him to be. And for the most part, he's pretty status quo, right? And he's there to kind of preserve things and really to make sure that we don't get stuck with someone from the Republican Party, specifically Donald Trump. But that being said, he has actually done some good things. And I think that those things don't get talked about enough. And the things that he has done are tangible in a way that they would actually make a difference to people's lives. And that's so important and so valuable, especially to the people who these things are affecting. And you're right, he could definitely be doing more. We would love for him to do more, and we can talk about that. But also, he is doing something. And I know that sounds like a really low bar, but it's better than going backwards, which is what we've been doing for a long time, it feels like. Or it's better than no progress being made in these areas that have obvious problems like pharmaceuticals and the healthcare industry. So yeah, we love to see it.
We'd love to see it, and to be honest, behind closed doors, Republicans, especially on the statewide level, they love this. And so I hope that they accept, and you want to bet that they will accept this money, whereas they might reject some of that, alternative energy and green energy, the solar and the federal money for retrofitting homes. They might reject the climate money, but they're going to accept this money because they themselves, I've done reporting on healthcare, especially when it comes to Medicare and Medicaid, and state governments are spending tons of money themselves, so they are happy that their Medicare enrollees can be receiving this. So they're not going to talk about it, they won't tout it, but they will absolutely benefit from it. Especially, look, we just talked about Florida, a lot of retirees in Florida, a lot of Medicare recipients in Florida. So, this is moving Joe Biden into maybe more of on their good side, even though their governor's Ron DeSantis. So we will see. Yes, we count our victories even if they are pushed by Mr. Joe Biden.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.